Alright, so in this video I'm going to talk about the asteroid Ceres, okay? So I'm using my webcam, so if I'm looking in a different direction than usually, that's why. So the thing about Ceres is we want to look at it as the ability to nurture, the ability to breathe life into something. And when we think of nurture, we do typically think of where we are first nurtured, where we first nurtured or nourished. So there is a mother aspect to Ceres. It doesn't mean you have everybody is a mother, but it does mean you have to use that archetype when you're breaking Ceres down. The reason why is because of the myth and the origin of Ceres, and where it comes from is from Demeter / Ceres. So it's a reason for it. It's an origin. It's a story that deals with Persephone. So before I jump into that, Ceres is important for us in general to think about, even if you're not a parent, how you were parented. Are there any lingering issues perhaps with the way you were nurtured? How might you nurture your own children, right? So Ceres can give us how maybe you don't have children or want children or whatever, but you are in some way, you work in caretaking of other people. So Ceres is about the caretaking energy, the ability to caretake. And it doesn't mean you have to become one, but it is important to look in your chart to see, is Ceres significant? Is there some underlying issues? And just to give an understanding of who you are based on how you were, nurtured, brought up, and how you were, cared for. And so the myth, and I'm going to keep this brief because I'm going to jump into the signs. But I do think it's important for people to know where things come from. That way we understand that these meanings come from something. And so when we're talking about astrology, it's important for us to know Mars and the archetype of Virgo and Scorpio and Libra and everything. Where does it come from? What is the myth? Because why is this sign designed like this? Why is this sign designed like that? Like, there's a reason for everything. It's not random. Okay? But that's life in general. There's reasons for things. It's not random. Now, most things. Now, Ceres, again, she was also known as Demeter to the Greeks. Again, y'all, like, there's a lot. I could probably talk about this story for 2 hours, but to keep this video to the astrology, right? She was also called the goddess of agriculture. So that's where you get that kind of harvesty, putting effort into something energy that Ceres can bring. And her daughter was Persephone. For those who know, Pluto stole, abducted, kidnapped Persephone, assaulted Persephone. So, Greek myths have a lot of this very, it has like this morbid violence to it. Let's just be honest. Like a lot of these myths that, they have, there's violence, there's sexism, there's there's also in some Greek myths there are women overcoming certain things in some of the myths. But, it is what it is. If you study them, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the point being, we know that eventually what ends up happening is she strikes a deal for her own daughter. But anyway, she has to strike a deal because Pluto is the god of the underworld and he is intense. And we know Pluto, the energy, is intense. And she basically ends up spending time in the spring with her mother, and then the rest of the year she is in the underworld caring for dead souls. Right? So thinking about Pluto, that depth, going deep, being comfortable. Why is Pluto energy? Why do we say, astrologers, and why do I say when I talk about Pluto, it's comfortable dealing with deep, very morbid or very taboo topics, and it has to do with this, what Pluto is. When we actually look at the origins of Pluto, right? And the story behind it, not just what the planet's name, but the origin. And then Persephone, we know spring is beautiful, and we feel more vibrant, we feel more alive, and all of that with the spring. So that is where it comes from, where Ceres, the asteroid gets its name from Ceres. So Ceres, she had to care for her. She cared for her daughter. She wanted her daughter so much that she was willing to, even though she couldn't have her all the time, have her in some way. So there is a theme kind of also with sacrifice when we're talking about this energy. So you can see how Cancer is related to it, right? Also, Virgo, harvest, right? If she was the goddess of harvest, Virgo's energy being about planting the seed, improving something, and curating the quality of something, right? If we really want to look at Virgo in a pure energy, we want to get off of the stereotypes and stop thinking about people we know. If we look at signs as pure energy, we're going to understand them a lot better. In Cancer, obviously the nurturing aspect of the I am going to, because you belong to me, I'm going to give into you. Taurus Scorpio is interesting because the polarity of Scorpio. So you know what I do. Before I do my videos, I do research. Now, what I do is I clarify certain things. There are certain things that people debate about, and I do my research. Now, when it comes to me breaking down the signs and houses and stuff, that's my own interpretation. I don't take someone's stuff and say, this is what it is. And this, I do my own, because there's sometimes I don't 100% agree with the way certain things are presented. So I say it in a way that I think will make more sense to folks. But Taurus and Scorpio polarity is discussed in the Asteroid Goddesses book, Demetra George and Douglas Block. I've showed the book before on here. And it talks about the Taurus and Scorpio polarity is also part of Ceres, because think about Scorpio and that intensity, that possession. But Taurus is the physical. I'm going to give you the physical things you need. And Scorpio is that emotional intensity. So I thought that was interesting. So those 4 signs are associated with Ceres. So again, we're going to jump into, I'm going to talk briefly about aspects. So I'm not going to go into a diatribe about what they all are, but you got to look at your own chart, right? And again, you know what I say. Look at your chart. Understand your chart first. Try to understand it first before you think all is lost. Like, look at it. Understand what you see. Because Ceres aspects to feminine planets are going to be positive. Maybe you were nurtured. You know, you felt well cared for. If you have Ceres, Moon trine Ceres, you felt well cared for by your mother, perhaps, or whoever raised you, whoever gave you the emotional needs you needed. You have some people who are raised by a grandmother or a father or, you know, uncle or whoever, you know, and they provided that nurturing for you if you didn't grow up or near your mother, whoever. So though the moon typically represents mother, we already know there's different ways that people's charts play out. And I discussed that in the people in our chart video. With that said, if a person has negative aspects to Ceres, well, now we have to look at what happened. Because if we have planets making harsh aspects to Ceres, if you have squares and oppositions, especially squares, and you have like Saturn or Pluto and Mars or something like that, we have to look. Because it could mean the person was not nurtured. And if you do not feel nurtured growing up, nurtured doesn't always just mean your mom has to do this or your dad has to do this. Nurtured can be cultivating your talents. Did you feel nurtured in school? Did the people around you make you feel good about yourself and care about you? Because a person who has, let's say, now again, an asteroid is not the end all be all. You can interpret a chart without an asteroid. However, when you go deeper in people's charts, if I see someone who has a lot of squares to an asteroid, that's important, and I have to discuss that. The asteroid becomes more important in that person's interpretation than somebody else's. So, for example, if somebody has Pluto square Ceres, well, maybe they have a difficult time accepting nurture. So that person's going to have a difficult time accepting nurture, blocking the ability to receive nurture, right? It being a struggle for them in some way. So that's something to think about when you're looking at Ceres. If I describe it and you're like, wait, that's not what happened to me. Well, you have to look at your own chart and see, is there an opposition there? Is there a reason why that might not be the case? So let's jump into it. Again, this is going to be I'm going to try to make this brief. All right. Ceres in Aries would be the person who encourages other people to assert themselves. This is a person who might encourage another person to be more direct, more assertive. You understand people's need to feel like they are, you know, their own person. Especially if you're talking about parenting. If somebody's parenting someone, perhaps you understand that they're their own person, right? You understand that your child is not you. Now, I know as parents, a lot of times, you know, you want your children to somehow take some of your characteristics, you know, but they're not you. And so some people have a hard time letting go of that. Like, no, this is my family tradition, and no, we have to be like this. But some people might be like, no, you are your own person. Be adventurous, live your life, be who you are. Now, it's not the same as the Aquarius understanding of the you know, the unique individual. That's a different Ceres energy. But Ceres in Aries person doesn't try to restrict people. It cares for people by allowing them to really just roam and be and seize and kind of finds some kind of you know, ability to, you know, allow for them to be free and to roam and to be independent, and really allowing that energy to be released, as opposed to sometimes we think of Ceres, this is about I'm keeping you, right? And so it's very different with Aries. Now, Ceres and Taurus is like resourceful energy, giving to other people, giving resources. And a lot of times people say, well, does Taurus give resources to people? Taurus does like to consume their resources for themselves, but Taurus will give to who they care about, for sure. So though we're not talking about the sun, we're talking about Ceres, this is more of a resourceful type of nurturing. You need something, I'm going to give you this. This could be a person, maybe they have moon conjunct Ceres in the 11th house, and this is a person who's helped their friends out, and they give their friend you know, you can sleep on my couch, sure, go ahead, you know, what do you need, I'm gonna let you borrow money. That would be more your Ceres and Taurus person. Maybe they're not nurturing in the sense of the kind of emotional way, but they're nurturing in the sense of giving, of having, maybe even possessing resources, of, you know, and being able to give to the other people in order to help them build their lives back up. Now Ceres and Gemini, we have to understand that, like, Gemini is not a sign that deals with healing but it's a sign of communication, of words, of being able to use words in a way that's effective as well. Because Ceres is about that nurturing, caring energy, we're now going to see a different side. So that's what I'm trying to help us understand. The sun in Gemini is not the same as Ceres in Gemini, because you could have a person who's not a sun in Gemini, but they have this placement. They know that words can be soothing. These people are going to nurture through their words. And in some ways, yes, you can maybe be a creative person who touches the world or touches other people, knows how to make other people feel better, not through the physical touch, not through giving them money, not through those different things, but through seriously just the way in which they talk to them. Maybe this is a person who's really just good at talking, making people feel heard is a way of helping people heal, feeling like, wow, somebody's really listening to me for once. Ceres and Cancer, well, obviously this is going to be a really pronounced placement because of the Cancer linked to Ceres in general. And so it gives a sense of sympathy, true sense of caring. As opposed to it just being a core aspect of who you are, it becomes more of Ceres and Cancer wants to give. They want to kind of give that gift of emotion to others. They want others to understand that this is important, to understand that this is possible. Right? And so through a pure lens, you have a person who's more willing to approach and introduce emotions to other people as well. Because Ceres also can play a role in your actual relationships, okay? And so some people might find in their relationships, their Ceres placement or their partners is important. Ceres and Leo, this placement inspires others creatively, right? Your ideas and confidence influences other people. They see that you're able to see their light. You're able to help other people see their talent. So that, again, remember Leo energy knows its talent, but remember what we're dealing with here, Ceres. So Ceres is about care and nurture and cultivating, sustaining in a way, right? And so in a way, what it can do is it helps you can see other people's talent. You help them see what's important in them. They might even not even know what they actually have inside, especially if you had a person that maybe is Jupiter conjunct Ceres and Leo. They're probably a talent agent. They're able to kind of bring people out into the world and help them be seen and recognized. Ceres and Virgo, you know, Virgo is associated with Ceres. So, you know, you help people pick up the pieces, maybe even of their life. This is where you might see more of the vocation being shown through Ceres. You improve people's lives. Now we have to understand this is not the sun. So any criticisms you have of Cancer or Leo and Virgo and Aries and whatever, any criticisms have to be left to the side, because Ceres is about this nurture and care. And so if you have Ceres and Virgo and you're like, well, I don't deal with Virgos, whatever, it doesn't really matter, because. And so what it does is it helps you piece together what it is that someone needs in order for them to be efficient in life. And so this is the person who's able to give people maybe tools, give them some sense of reassurance, give them some sense of building themselves up and giving them the advice and the very practical nature of task oriented. You should do this first. You should try this. That is what you're dealing with when you see Ceres in Virgo energy. It's about improvement. You nurture through helping someone improve, through health, or through simply them being more effective in the way in which they're living their life. I just feel like they are a part of you. You teach or show them the ability to harmonize. Because the thing about nurture is we're giving to you. When you nurture someone, you're taking something that you have and you're giving in. And so through Ceres and Libra, you're investing in, we're a partner, we're together. You're nurturing their ability to understand their ability, the concept of relating. And so, what else did I say here? Yep. You help other people see their options. You help other people see the two sides of things. This could be a person who, again, you have to look at the whole chart, but they could be like a person that's like, somebody's down or somebody's upset or something like that, and you help them see the other side of something. You're constantly helping people see, because people can get really, pessimistic and things like that. And you can have someone with Ceres and Libra where it's like, wait, let's look at this other side of this. Let's look at this. Did you consider this? Did you also see that this is possible? And so you could definitely have a Ceres and Libra energy where it's bringing harmony. You nurture through harmony, through connection. I'm going to connect to you in order to nurture you. I'm going to see what you are and what I am and see where we meet in the middle. Now, Ceres and Scorpio. Okay, this is where you will be able to nurture the deepest part of another person in order to really even mold, transform, and change them. Again, you should also look at Ceres energy through your relationships as well. Though we don't really want to mother a relationship, right? We can still sometimes see, because there are some relationships where there's more of a need for a person to have some type of emotional nurturing because of maybe things they missed or lacked in their childhood or things of that nature. But Ceres and Scorpio is showing them with devotion how it feels to truly be intensely supported. Ceres and Scorpio does not let go. It will not let go. Now, again, what I said before, Ceres has this other side to it, depending on other aspects in the chart. And so this could be more of a control issue. Remember, we have to understand Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto has that link to Ceres where he stole Persephone. Okay, so understand this one could be a bit intense, but it can definitely be one that is still nonetheless beneficial to a person's life, because you're able to give them a level of true devotion. And you don't want anything in return. You can definitely sometimes have suns. The sun is a sign. The moon wants to feel safe, right? All that. But you could definitely have like Mars in a sign. You can have planets that want something from you. Ceres isn't always it's not trying to get anything from you. It's trying to give to you. Okay. And so that means that in Ceres and Scorpio, it's not about, oh, I want your power. Now, again, if somebody has squares and moons and squares and moons, and if you and your partner have squares and Ceres, there could be dynamics. So what I say is everything is contingent on the chart. All right. So Ceres and Sagittarius, this would be the individual who nurtures through inspiration, through hope, and encourages other people to form their own truth. So you can sometimes have Sag energy that's very indignant. Sag energy sometimes that's very much believes so much in what they believe. They want other people to believe it. And that makes sense, to want to spread that same level of excitement. But sometimes, depending on the person, it can be a bit much, right? And again, I'm not saying anything against Sagittarius, I'm a Sag moon, but sometimes it can be a bit much, right? With certain people trying to impose. But Ceres is not trying to impose. It's not trying to get you to believe this because, I want to spread awareness and I want influence. It's trying to help mold you and help you understand the importance of what is possible. What can happen? What is possible when you actually take, your own experience and let it guide you to understanding who you really are. And so the Ceres and Sagittarius, and again, the thing with Ceres is you're not always conscious of it. It's not a conscious thing that you're trying to do. It's just something that presents in this chart, because Ceres is so linked to that moon aspect. Ceres is not really a conscious, I'm doing this on purpose energy. But when you hear your Ceres sign, you're just like, oh yeah. Ceres and Capricorn. Okay, so this is where I'm saying, so obviously Ceres is an opposite sign. Ceres is in Capricorn is opposite of Ceres and Cancer, and we know Cancer is related to it. Traditional instills guidance, parental energy. Definitely a parental energy, like Cancer, but not in an emotional way. I'm going to nurture you through mentoring you, through showing you how to do the work, through showing you my work, showing you the work ethic, through taking you through the process. This could be a person who's, maybe you're not overly emotional, but out on the outside, but you're very good at you're mentoring other people in your field. You show other people the way. This could be like a basketball coach. It could be like a football coach or something. You know what I mean? So I want us to understand, Ceres does not have to mean that it's always about hugging, loving, and the kids and da-da. It definitely does have to do with nurture, and we know the first step of nurturing is through children, your children or your mother, your father, whoever. But this is an example of how this person kind of, let me give you an example of somebody with Ceres in Capricorn. You're going to see what I'm talking about. Steve Jobs has Ceres in Capricorn. Now, what's interesting about Steve Jobs is he has his whole biography that he wrote, or there was a book about him, I don't remember, but anyway, it was very hard for people to work under him, apparently. But through working under him, the people got better. But like some people were like, this is hard. Like people were really candid. Like it was really hard working under him. But he made them better. See what I'm saying? That Capricorn parental energy of we're going to get to the top no matter what. I don't care about your feelings, everything. So I'm not saying he said that, but it was, people have said like it was hard working under him because he put a lot of pressure on people, and some people cannot handle that, but that's an example of Ceres and Capricorn. It's an example of nurturing. I'm going to develop you because I care about this and I'm going to give this to you, and it's different when it's in Capricorn. I'm not saying everybody's that intense, but it's that good old fashioned traditional type of, I'm going to show you how to do this, or we're going to do this like this. No, you're going to get better energy. Ceres in Aquarius encourages the unique, unique qualities of other people and of society. They see differences as something that is to embrace. They care deeply. This could be a parent. Two parents handle a situation with a child very differently. All right, one parent doesn't agree with the child or what they became, and the one parent doesn't care, or doesn't that they don't care, but they understand like you're your own person. You are different. Ceres in Aries and Ceres in Aquarius, the nurturing of that is going to be more free. I'm nurturing you because I believe that you know best. I'm going to give you a little bit of that. Now, a child who might need more of that nurturing. So here's the thing though. If you're a Ceres and Aquarius parent, but your child is moon in Cancer. They're Taurus. Maybe your Taurus child, moon in Cancer. They need more protection. The Ceres and Aquarius type of nurturing might not work for them. So Ceres is really good at seeing those aspects as well. But you would embody a humanitarian visionary thing by default. By Ceres and Aquarius is more like, hey, yes, I'm appreciative of what you have. I'm going to care about that. It could be the friend who's like, let me try to think, who's more conservative than you. You have a friend who's more conservative than you, and you're doing like some far out project that like is crazy, but they still support you anyway. They're like, go ahead. That's where you're going to see the slight differences in people who can accept and nurture and cultivate and care for you even when you're doing something different than what they believe or what they think would be that energy there. Okay. And might nurture the individuality in other people instead of being it. Get what I'm saying? The sun in Aquarius is going to be that. The Aquarius ascendant person is going to more show those qualities of the individual. I'm going to think in a different way and then produce this to society and show you how I think. But Ceres is more, I'm going to nurture and accept and support you. All right? Ceres is also about the support. Now, Ceres in Pisces. Well, this is a natural acceptance in a way because we can definitely see this ability to nurture in a way that is productive. Now, what I do want to say with all of this is, remember, this is the opposite of Virgo, which is associated with Ceres. And Virgo associated with Ceres is because we are doing something in order to improve it. Pisces is the opposite sign. And so we would think that Ceres and Pisces is this optimal place, but it actually opposes Virgo, which is associated with this sign. So we do have to look at Ceres a little bit more of a what's underneath it, what's a little challenging there. And what could be challenging there is, I think, the more laissez-faire, go ahead, just live your dream type of energy, where nurturing is actually an action. It's not an inaction. If I'm nurturing you, I'm giving something. I'm not just saying, hands off, go ahead, live your dream, right? And so though I think Ceres and Pisces, it's not a bad placement. You can inspire in a gentle way. You can be compassionate, right? You can give people that feeling of, wow, what I am is more than, I think the Ceres and Pisces energy can be helpful because it's more like they're not looking at you for what you say, for your body type, for what you look like, and you're this. It's more of this true, I'm nurturing, I'm going to accept your soul, who you are, the essence of you, and just kind of letting you be. If Virgo rules Mercury in astrology, if Mercury rules Virgo in astrology, and we know that, well, Mercury doesn't function so well in Pisces. So same thing with Ceres. But it can be very beneficial for someone who is dealing with being able to inspire other people. But the difference is you have to understand, like, it's not a cultivating. Pisces is not cultivating you. It is just letting you be. It is letting you express. It is letting you guide yourself to something. And because of that, it's not really the same action as the other placements. So The only thing I would say with Ceres and Pisces is making sure, like, if there's aspects to your child and you and that, just making sure that you're aware of where your child might, where there might be some differences, right, in terms of what you are giving them versus their moon, what they need, right? So I would just look into that. Now, quickly, I'm going to go through the houses. So if Ceres is in the first house, you're going to nurture or be able to, support people the most in terms of self-assertion, helping them come to grips with who they are, showing their own power, their own prowess, because Mars rules the first house. If Ceres is in the second house, you're going to, you're going to see that you're able to support and nurture people more in your, through what you build for them, your resources, what resources you share, what resources you have built for yourself, and that you use to help you guide others. Next, third house. If you have Ceres in the third house, this is going to be formal education. Maybe you are in some way guiding others educationally, you're a teacher, or you are some way involved in the formative years of somebody, right? And you're in the formative years of helping someone nurture or understand, and you're able to give them some sense of voice and understanding of who they are through your ability to give them an outlet. The fourth house, Ceres in the fourth house, is the home and family. You're going to do best nurturing your family. You're going to do best nurturing people who are from where you are. Preserving history, maybe even. You could also see a person who gives into their community or their hometown or whatever. The fourth house, yes, it's family, but it's also our past. It is linked to where we come from. Ceres in the fifth house. Well, Ceres in the fifth house individuals, you're going to support the joy in other people, the fun in other people. You might even be able to lift up what they should do in order to build up their confidence, because the fifth house is a house of inner confidence. We go other places to go outer confidence, but the fifth house is where that really develops. And so this could be a person where you are helping coach or mold or to help people understand their own abilities in some way. Now, Ceres in the sixth house, you help, especially maybe family or anyone else, but you nurture people's ability to function. You help their everyday life. This would be a placement, let's say someone has Ceres and Pisces in the sixth house. Maybe they're a physical therapist in some way. Sixth house would be the Ceres person who nurtures and cultivates through what they are giving to someone's daily functions, their daily routines. You're able to help them and care for them in that way. This is why that's more of a hospitality type of placement. Seventh house, Ceres. So seventh house, you nurture your relationships. You really are able to make them grow and understand them. You're willing to put in the effort in order for something to feel like it is being cultivated, sustained. You are someone that's not just going to leave just because times get tough. So this is where Ceres would have more of a relationship signification, because of the seventh house energy dealing with partnership. So Ceres here would definitely mean someone who is associated with giving into their relationships, nurturing them, wanting them to be something that is very productive, having that quality of, no, we're going to make this work. That's the Ceres in seventh house type of energy. Now, Ceres in the eighth house, through this, it's the literal need and want to feel connected to someone else. Ceres in the eighth house, we're dealing with more of an intimacy type of energy. This is a person who might be able to provide and give, especially in a romantic situation, more intimacy than a person has ever felt before in their life, because the eighth house is about joining together. You're coming together, your power is now becoming one. So Ceres there is a more intense way of joining. I'm nurturing you because I believe that we're going to become something bigger and better. Now, Ceres in the ninth house. This is going to be through your impact is going to be seen through your ability to expand your horizons and others as well. The ninth house does deal with this concept of journey. So you help and support people through their own journeys. You perhaps are someone that exposes people to things they would have never been exposed to before. But you do it in a way in which you want other people to have this experience. It's not with the ninth house. Now, again, you have Ceres there and you have other planets. Well, you have to interpret that differently, obviously. But in general, you're not going to be seeing it. Like, I'm not trying to get a pulpit, right, like a sun and ninth, and start preaching and telling you what to think. It's, no, this is a life. I want you to understand life better so I can help you see that you can have more, right? Ceres is about this caretaking. I'm doing this because I care about you. Now, Ceres in the 10th house. These are the people, especially depending on other placements, that can bring other people to the top. You don't want other people left behind. You're the type of person that might say, I'm trying to like evade this light, but it's just hard because when I film in the morning, you know, the lighting starts off one way, and then I have to stop. Remember, I'm not going to go on a whole tangent, but this is why my lighting looks the way it does sometimes. Like I start in the morning, and I've set up my lighting, and then the sun comes up, and then I have to change everything around. So it is what it is. I'm almost done anyway. Ceres in the 10th house. You're not the type, you know, some people just don't want to see other people rise to the top. They don't take other people along for the ride with them. But this person likely would. I'm caring about you. I'm going to help your career. I'm going to help you get to these steps of how to be, achieve like me. I'm going to show you how to be successful. Ceres in 11th house. We're dealing with a person who's maybe, in some way supports or nurtures and gives back to society. They give back to society. They give back in some way to the people also that are around them, such as friendships and things of that nature. But this is the person that is maybe even, especially if they had other placements in 11th house, maybe they start something that is beneficial, a healing type of group. Again, maybe someone has Ceres, they also have Venus in the 11th house. They're starting some type of organization or some type of group that promotes the healing and just emotional well-being of people. So when Ceres is in the 11th house, it's a potential for you to connect to people, but you're not doing it in a self-serving way. It's not a money grab, or it's not about just getting influence and status. It's really about you giving what you have in order to help other groups, a conglomerate of people, have some type of support as well. And Ceres in the 12th house. So if you have Ceres in the 12th house, you're going to support and inspire people through spirituality. So that's why 12th house people, 12th house folks, you got to know yourself really well, because it's not a burden, but it's an obligation, it's a duty to understand your own spirituality so that you can truly help other people understand it as well. That 12th house energy can be very beneficial to you and other people when you use it in the right way. So when Ceres is there, that means you nurture people's understanding of spirituality. You accept them. You know it's real. You help other people see what's possible, right? Even when the world is telling them no. So you're nurturing and able to cultivate that. You kind of take in people who are lost, and you can guide them. You know what they need through a spiritual lens, not from a physical lens like the second house. So that's what we would be dealing with Ceres in the 12th house. So thank you for watching. If you got through this video, if you liked it, please hit the like button. Make sure you also are subscribed. Also have the new newsletter, so please subscribe to that as well. I will be putting out another edition this week, so thanks. And next time I'll come back with another. I think my next asteroid is going to be Vesta.